All right. It is my birthday, so I figured I would do a little stream. I missed a couple weeks ago because I just didn't feel like it. And then this last weekend was MegaCon. So I figured my birthday would be good as excuse as any to, you know, hang out with you guys for a bit, do the stream, and yeah. I don't know how long I'll go. Probably just this one level, I'm guessing. I did work today. I'm surprisingly an adult, but whatever. That's no fun to talk about. So, I am celebrating my birthday like a really cool old guy. You know, uh, working and doing fuck all. Hey, what's up, Mr. Divine? Yeah, I wish Social Security was getting close. Tired of fucking working, I'll tell you that much. um, yeah, not anything too special, I would say. Just, you know, hanging out. No real special plans. Might go grab dinner after the stream. I let myself splurge a little bit, and by splurge I mean just break my fucking diet. Go get some Skittles and a Dr. Pepper since I don't typically drink soda because it obviously is not great for you, especially if you're trying to not be a fat sack of shit. And why is this shit not updating on stream? There we go. I don't know why it does that sometimes. Like, I can see her chat in OBS, but not in but not on the screen. That's fucking weird. And it was way more than just, lag or whatever. Anyway. So yeah. I don't really expect too many people to be around right now. Yeah, I mean I guess you might still be working. It's only I think 3:30 your time. I think you said you were in California. Unless I'm mixing you up with somebody else. But for me it's 6:30. Came home, cleaned up around the house a little bit. Super fun stuff that us elderly people do as we get old. Yeah, 3:30. Okay, I thought so. Well, hopefully you're coming up on the end of your workday if your hours aren't too crazy. But yeah, I don't really have anything specific in mind. I was just kind of thinking about it while I was at work today that I haven't really kept up with the streams the way that I wanted to. I mean, MegaCon this weekend, I was driving from Orlando back home, and having the dogs and shit. It's a 6-hour drive. Taking little pee breaks for them and all that makes it more like 6.5. So even leaving fairly early, I didn't get home till after lunch. And then I was still tired, so. And then the one a couple weeks ago that I skipped, honestly, I just didn't feel like streaming. It was just a long week. Movie-wise, there is not jack shit going on. I wanted to kind of set a goal for myself of maybe getting to 1,500 subscribers, even though it's not the kind of thing I really worry about, just to sort of have something to work towards. I mean, it's not like, obviously, I'm doing this for subscribers, or I would just suck off all the Marvel movies and that type of thing. The con was good. I went there with my wife, met up with Istad, who was my college roommate. Got quite a few pictures that I got hung up. Bought some t-shirts. She bought some shirts. It was super crowded on Saturday. So I got down there Thursday night after work. I did a half day. And then we went Friday and Saturday. Saturday was an absolute fucking circus. Speaking of circuses, the one picture that I paid for was with Andy Circus. And, it's a pretty good picture. I thought about putting it up, but then I'd have to block my face. So I wasn't really sure how much of a point there would be, because I could just steal the fucking picture from anybody. And then you'd all just see how fucking fat I am. But, it's always fun seeing all the costumes. There was a band there playing random anime music over the course of the couple of days, and then they switched to Blink-182 at one point for some reason. I guess I must be in the correct age bracket for their target demographic. I don't know. Got some posters and shit that I put up in my workout room. It was good. They're just long days, Went to the Geeks and Gamers panel. I stayed for about half of it. Because a lot of it, and I'm going to go ahead and just be a bit of a douchebag, I guess. A lot of the Q&A part, when they got to it, the first guy was like, I don't have a question. I just wanted to thank you guys. And, it was a lot of just jerking them off. I didn't care for that. Plus, we were trying to cut Saturday a little bit shorter to give us time to get, go take the dogs out, get back for the nighttime stuff. So, yeah, Mr. Divine said, did your fellow YouTubers recognize you? No, I think my identity is still good. I'm like Spider-Man at the end of No Way Home. The only person that I met and introduced myself to actually was Ryan Kennel. Because we went to the Geeks and Gamers meetup. I wasn't drinking, but, just hung out, and Istad had a few beers, and it was a cool place. It was the Red Coconut, so it's pretty chill setup, because they rented it out. So it's just all of their fans. And there was a few hundred people there. It was actually getting pretty rowdy right when we left. We left at 10:30, because I had to get up at 6:30 the next day to hit the road. But it was a good time. I'm sure you can find the Geeks and Gamers meetup video on their live stream or whatever if you're interested. Andy Circus was really short. I'm 5'10", which I guess I'm the only guy who's 5'10" who actually says 5'10". Apparently it's a thing where every other guy above 5'9" just rounds up to 6 feet. I don't know why. Height to me is a weird thing to lie about. We can all see you. Anyway, Andy Circus was maybe 5'6". He was friendly enough, but the photo ops, it's a very in and out thing. That's just how they are. So, I just shook his hand and said, nice to meet you. Told him that I loved all the background stuff, behind the scenes stuff in Planet of the Apes. It's really interesting, actually, if you ever are bored. It's all on YouTube. You don't have to buy the DVDs or anything. But he talks about how he studied chimps, so he moved a certain way and stuff. Those movies have great visuals that like actually hold up for how much CGI is in them, Um, but I love all the costumes. There was obviously some. It's crazy how crowded those things are. I forgot to look up the actual number of like attendees, but the second day, man, you could just not move. Mr. Defiant said, "What did I expect for Andy Serkis? Because he played Gollum and a monkey." That's true, but they're already doing CG anyway. Maybe they could just shrink him. I don't know. I actually think he's a good actor. He was Snoke also, even though they fucking wasted him. He was good in Andor. His character was actually okay in Black Panther also, even though that movie sucked a big cock. No, I like him as an actor. I mean, I'm sure he's in a million other fucking things that I'm not thinking of right now. But yeah, I mean, it's always a good time. It's just one of those things where I will say it's a bit lame. I mean, even though I wasn't drinking, I feel like it does kind of put a damper on the atmosphere when they're very restrictive with alcohol. It's actually what happened in Denver that kind of, to me, like fucked it up. Because in Denver, the first year that I went, the first 2 years that I went, you could just drink anywhere you go. So you just go get beers and walk around all day. It's not like, I never saw anyone like particularly drunk or belligerent or anything like that. And then the next year they restricted it to where you could only drink in like certain areas. You had to like chug your beer in those areas and then you could go walk around. And even if like you're not getting drunk anyway, it just throws off the whole vibe. And I'm sure they do it because of, one fucking idiot somewhere got too drunk and they had to arrest him. And then, who knows if it's a liability thing or if the cops were like, hey, if we're dealing with drunks, we have to pay for more security. I have no idea, right? But it just makes the whole event a bit more stiff, I think. And then it's so crowded on top of that too, so it's just, I don't know. It's just a weird atmosphere, I guess. We did go to we tried to go to one of the nighttime things, but it ended up just being kind of an extension of the con for like the super hardcore people. And we thought it was more of like an after hours thing where people would be dancing and shit even if you couldn't drink. So, that was kind of whatever. That's part of why we ended up going to the Geeks and Gamers meetup. Because the meetup, even though it's cool and the place is cool, it is not particularly convenient to get to. Because it's like inside the entrance to Universal. So you had to park in this big ass garage and then, it's probably a 10-minute walk, which doesn't sound like a ton, but, when you just want to hang out and it's been a long day, you're not trying to walk fucking, not trying to drive 15, 20 minutes in traffic and then walk 10, 15 minutes in another crowd and all that. Just not, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure the reason they do it is because of price. I can't even imagine how much it would try to be to get something closer to the venue. And the place itself is cool. It's a really good size and their fans are all really cool. For some reason, multiple people told me that I look like Lex Luthor from Smallville. I don't know if it's just because I'm bald and white or what, but 2 separate dudes said it to me. I had never heard that before. And I was a little bit bummed. I used to make costumes. I taught myself how to sew. Watched a shitload of videos online, and plus at the time I worked a bullshit nighttime job for the government. So I used to take some of my supplies with me to work and work on my costumes over the night shift. But with the job that I currently have, and just the YouTube channel, other shit going on, I just didn't have time, which is a bummer. Because it's fun to make them, and it's fun to have like your little group all be dressed up. I don't get into character or anything like that. That's a bit too much for me. But it's a good time. I mean, for you, I guess San Diego would probably be the closest one if you're in California. Or I'm sure there's other fairly big ones. I think there's Anime Expo also. I don't know if you're into anime. Um, but San Diego Comic Con used to be huge. I heard it's not quite as crazy now, post the pandemic stuff. But I actually never looked into it again. I know when I tried to go about 10 years ago to San Diego, it was 10,000 people, or sorry, 1,000,000 people applying for 100,000 spots, and 50,000 of them went to people who had been the previous year. So out of the 100,000 who went the previous year, they were guaranteed half the spots for the next year. So you end up with 950,000 people being raffled off for 50,000 spots. And I think you can only do 3 tickets max if you get through. So it was crazy competitive back in the day. I don't know if it's still like that. And then I've also heard that they don't really get as many of the big reveals and stuff anymore. Because I don't know if how much you pay attention to like the meta stuff and the leaks and early trailers and all that. But it used to be San Diego Comic Con. You'd see like 15 new trailers. And it was pretty crazy. Like all the big movies coming up, they released their shit at San Diego. And now I think just because of ease of access and stuff, they just don't do it that way now. I guess movie wise, the only thing coming out relevant really is Captain America 4, which the trailers for that just do not look great. That doesn't even get into all the budget stuff, obviously. Like it seems almost impossible to me that this movie could be good, I guess. Just because of how much of a mess it's been behind the scenes. So I just don't think that there's any way it's going to be good. I'll probably see it just because there's been nothing out. And I'm kind of curious to see what the state of Marvel is. Because, the Fantastic Four trailer came out. We're starting to get stuff for Superman. The Jurassic World Rebirth trailer came out. And all of those movies come out in July. Which, I'm sure there's part of that where they just want to get the summer whatever. But then the other part of it seems to be, one, they either have to hope that it becomes an event and they feed off each other, or two, that they can stomp their competition out, right? Like if Fantastic Four were to dwarf Superman, the new DC EU or DCU or whatever they're calling it would just be dead. So that month should be pretty interesting, but I mean, honestly, I don't really think any of those trailers look good. I'm not sure if you guys have seen them. I thought Fantastic Four looked really fucking weird. Pedro Pascal, I thought was a strange choice. Yeah, I just obviously Marvel has been not the best anyway in recent memory. Like I think the biggest thing has been No Way Home. And honestly, I wasn't even really a huge fan of that. So Ugh. And then Jurassic World Rebirth. Dominion, I never saw. I heard it was miserably bad. Like there was prehistoric locust or something. I stopped after Fallen Kingdom, which was Jurassic World 2. And that movie was horrendous. I like Chris Pratt. I'm okay with Bryce Dallas Howard. That movie was miserable to watch. I actually rewatched it recently on Hulu. Well, I put it on to go to bed one night, and it was fucking awful. Fantastic Four, they're a weird group to me, especially to bring them in at this point, because my understanding is that they're an alternate universe in the 60s, but it's modern day, at least in the MCU. And they're going to bring them into the main universe, I guess. And then presumably Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom. But I don't know. The only Fantastic Four stuff that I know is the movies that came out like 20 years ago, which I thought were just mainly boring. And then the one that came out with Miles Teller and a couple other young actors. I can't even remember who now. And that movie was fucking atrocious. Like the most retarded scientist ever. I mean, they're dumber than the fucking Wuhan lab people who let the fucking coronavirus go. Like that movie was just stupid as shit. Um so I haven't had any good experiences with the Fantastic Four is my point. I It's just hard for me to imagine really getting invested. I mean, I guess it could be good, obviously, right? Like they're pretty well liked among the comic fans, and people love Reed Richards, and you know, obviously there's four different abilities, and they could be a cool team. But I think part of what kind of fucks them up too is that usually my guess would be you'd introduce them early on, so they're kind of unique in the fact that you're introducing a team instead of just a singular hero like Spider-Man or whoever. And then obviously, they all team up later. But um yeah, but with the MCU, like half the movies have been some kind of team up. So it's like they're not really unique in that sense anymore. Their powers, well, I'm sure if somebody creative could use them in really interesting ways, are kind of not really by any fault of their own, but they're just sort of standard, I guess. I mean, at this point, if you just went and watched the X-Men, you're getting what 100 different powers there, as opposed to the Fantastic Four, where you're getting 4. If you go watch the Avengers, you have a bigger team and galactic threats and blah blah blah. So, I think they're in a tough spot. On top of the fact that, yeah, I think the obvious fact that the MCU has just lost a lot of goodwill over time because they've just put out dog shit over and over and over. So, I'm not really looking forward to the Fantastic Four. I'll go see it more as a curiosity because it seems like they want to turn things around, but can they? I don't know. I just I expect it to be very safe and just kind of generic and sort of lame. Superman, I would have guessed they would be safe with Superman, but if we really do bring in like a bunch of characters and he's already kind of into his career, I don't have a problem with that. it might be a lot to juggle for one movie. And then James Gunn, I think, has a tendency to err on the side of, quirkiness, I guess, as opposed to a little bit more serious. I mean, maybe Buffy's different. I never watched that kind of stuff from him. But at least in Guardians and even the Justice League, he tried to introduce a bit more humor or inject a bit more levity into Zack Snyder's kind of edgelord, his whole deal. So we'll see. I think it would be good for it to be a pretty positive, kind of happy, light movie. But it's also one of those things where it's like, is it going to be, is it going to take itself seriously without being like edgy? Or is it going to be just goofy and like kind of making fun of itself? And I don't know. I'm not sure what to think. I know people were freaking out about the dog and stuff and whatever. I don't really care about any of that stuff. I just don't know tonally what the movie's going to be like. Like, is it going to be just, like MCU light? And then there's also the Thunderbolts trailer, which I think that comes out in May. So that'll be out just before we get to, just before we get to July, where everything's gonna be pretty loaded. I've seen a lot of people really praising this Thunderbolts trailer. I don't get it, honestly. I think it kind of looks like if Marvel wanted to do the Suicide Squad. I mean, it seems like a similar premise to me, at least. I don't know. It just looks like meh to me. And it's kind of hard for me to imagine that it'll be anything too different. I mean, even the movie, like the Black Widow movie, where if you wanted to explore some darker things and have your characters operate in more of a gray area, I mean, they completely fucked that up, right? Like, trying to make a person who is pure evil sympathetic, and just the dumb shit they always do now. I mean, it was just a bad fucking movie. I mean, even in the end, Black Widow's plan was to smash her fucking face into a table. Like, that's what we're doing, So, I don't know. It's really hard for me to think that they would just fucking nail it with the Thunderbolts. Like, I'm kind of expecting... Well, I expect Captain America to be disastrous. But after that, I think that Superman and Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts will all just be inoffensive, bland, just generic, kind of just forgettable, That's sort of my expectation for like the whole summer. I don't expect much. I think Jurassic World Rebirth, that one I think has the potential to be like really fucking bad, just based on the trailer. And I don't know how long it's going to be before they learn that, the first Jurassic Park was a horror movie, and a lot of the action scenes it didn't rely on smart raptors chasing them around and like high packed action with Bryce Dallas Howard running away in heels in slow motion and weaponizing the fucking dinosaurs. A lot of it just relied on, the fact that you recognized every dinosaur as a threat. And that, it's very unnatural and kind of unnerving for humans and dinosaurs to interact because of just the difference in size. And I mean, they're obviously, humans are much less acquainted, or they deviate much more from reptiles and lizards and those sorts of things than mammals. Like, some people see a baby snake and think, "Oh, that's cute," but those people are usually considered weird because it just goes against our instincts, as opposed to, if you see a baby cat and you're like, "Oh, it's cute and fuzzy and soft." And I think a lot of that tends to be because we're both mammals, just on a pure animalistic level. And I think, Jurassic Park, obviously, with the premise being giant fucking dinosaurs, it's a great premise for a kind of unnatural, unnerving situation. And it uses horror super well in the first one. And then they just gradually get worse after that. I mean, some people say that 3 is better than 2. I don't even know if I would care enough to argue. I don't find either one particularly compelling. There's crazy amounts of dumb shit in both. I think 2 actually maybe has my favorite scene from any of the movies, where the raptors are running through the cornfield and you can just see their tails and the path that they're cutting, all trying to chase them. Like, that scene's awesome. But, the rest of the movie, you get the fucking gymnastics foreshadowing where the girl kicks a fucking raptor in the ribs to save somebody. Jeff Goldblum is already in proto Goldblum form where he's just playing himself. Yeah, those movies are just... the first one was just kind of lightning in a bottle. And yet here we are fucking 30 years later, getting like the retarded stepchild of it still. So yeah, not a lot to look forward to movies wise, I don't think. The one with Robert Pattinson looks interesting. Shit, what is it? Like Matthew 17 or something, where he finds out that he's a clone, that just each one of the clones dies, and then eventually one of the clones seems to want to have like a sense of self and live. I mean, that at least looks interesting. But beyond that, I mean, I haven't really seen much that I'm like looking forward to. I don't think Mando and Grogu is this year. I'm sure everyone is highly disappointed. I think Ahsoka season 2 might be this year. Fuck, I don't even know. I mean, I'm looking forward to, My Hero Academia finishing up. I'm trying to think of what other shows are getting sequel seasons. Not Rent a Girlfriend season 4, I'll tell you that fucking much. Pretty sure that pile of shit's on chapter like 365. Still no progress. Story's just broken on fucking loop. It's just bait. The series. Every chapter ending on a cliffhanger. Just dog shit. I have been enjoying some of the anime this season though. I made a couple videos about like the honey lemon soda one. There's some that are trashy that I wouldn't even recommend, but they're fine. Soul Leveling season 2 has been great. Hiroyuki Sawano doing the music is always fucking awesome. And it might be his apprentice actually doing Soul Leveling. I'm not sure. I think his name is like Koto Yamamoto or something. But he does good stuff too if it's him. What else am I watching? Oh yeah, I made a video about the Medaka is impervious to my charms or whatever. That season's been good, which I knew it would be. Just a bummer that the series fell off a fucking cliff. But the anime only people don't have to worry about that. Sakamoto Days. That one is a weird one because I've enjoyed it and my wife has enjoyed it. But the manga people are like losing their fucking mind about the animation. But it's a pretty chill slice of life about an assassin or a retired assassin who has people coming after him. But it never feels heavy. It doesn't get dark. You know, he has a rule that he doesn't kill. Well, his wife made a rule for him that he doesn't kill. So it's kind of like a Spy Family-esque tone. Where even though the subject matter is serious, it's not ever heavy. At least so far. Let's see. Oh, R. Ferretta season 4 is coming out. I've kind of checked out of that show. After the first couple seasons, I read the books. And I read them to the end of the main story. And then there's like R. Ferretta after that goes on for like hundreds of chapters. And, you know, the whole harem thing in that one I'm not a huge fan of. The animation is which isn't a deal breaker for me 99% of the time. And for that show, it's fine. It's like acceptable, I guess. What else? Oh, Apothecary Season 2. Those books are still really good. I think this season will cover books 3 and 4, if I had to guess. Book 13 just came out in English recently. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, though. Let's see. Oh, the 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You. That one is straight trash. It's good for background noise. And it does have... Whoops, sorry. It does have some good humor in it. But it's not a show I would ever recommend. I mean, it's one of those that you either accept that the premise is totally ridiculous and just look for the humor in it, or you don't. And it's definitely one of those that I think would vary a lot person to person. Oh, Blue Exorcist is coming out. Blue Exorcist is actually in the part of the story that I thought was... It was kind of where I checked out. And it's not even that it's bad. The story itself is interesting. I just don't care. Like, if you haven't watched Blue Exorcist... What's up, Bear? Yeah, you fucking idiot. I made a video on that one upon your request. He asked if I watched Band of Brothers after his dumbass requested it. And I made a video for it. He's another one I know in real life. If that wasn't clear. Yeah, Band of Brothers was really good. I did think it's a little bit manipulative, though, that they share the actual guys each episode. I mean, it's smart. Because, you know, it makes you, it gets you, like, right invested. Well, if you didn't get the notification, I made that video probably 6 months ago at this point. I mean, it's genius that they show the real guys in the sense that it gets you invested, like, emotionally pretty quickly. Because, you know, obviously, when you know it's real people, the stakes are set up right away. Like, I mean, obviously, you know the fact that it's a historical event, you know, that it's based on that real people died and all that. But by letting you see the real people, it really puts it into perspective immediately. But it is also kind of emotionally manipulative, I think, to be like, oh, well, here's all the real guys, and here's the show. Although it was pretty interesting trying to figure out who was who, because they don't reveal it until the end, which is also smart to not spoil the show for you. Um, let's see. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Bear said that it's kind of emotionally manipulative, but the whole point was to tell their story. I know, and it was a crazy ass story. I mean, the things they did were unbelievable. That's for sure. Like the whole that whole part where they're out in the snow and they're talking about how fucking cold it was and they're just stuck out there surrounded by enemies. I mean, I think it just takes a special kind of person to even survive those situations, let alone thrive in them. And to be able to withstand that kind of, just relentless mental punishment where they think they're getting to go home. They think they're getting to go home just, over and over. And then every time it's, oh, well, we need you guys, we need you guys again, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. And one of the coolest things I thought actually about the whole show was that at the very end you find out what happened to the survivors after, and for the most part they all just go on to work regular jobs and live regular lives. It's another one of those things I think really gets the message across of, we're sending these boys over to war to die, and they go on to be just carpenters and, car salesmen or whatever the fuck. Like, they're just regular people doing these things. They're not special in the sense that, a superhero is special or whatever from fiction. Or if they're framed that like as superheroes in, army recruitment videos or whatever, at the end of the day, they're still just young men. Bear says he'll go find my video after pickleball. Oh, have fun. Pickleball is a good time. Pretty sure I'm supposed to go play tomorrow after work with some coworkers. They have it scheduled weekly, but I guess it'll depend on the weather. All right, I'm not going to keep you guys going too long. I just wanted to hang out a little bit for my birthday. I didn't really expect anybody to stop by. I gave no notice or warning because I didn't want to commit to it and then be like, I didn't want to like say I was going to do it, and then if I was tired or in a shitty mood or made plans, had to back out. So, I don't think I have anything else. I will. I guess as far as the channel is concerned, broadly speaking, I need to make my Hunter x Hunter video for the last arc. which, you know, is which it's a really short arc, so the video should be a lot shorter than my previous ones. For like, well, like the Chimera Ant Island arc obviously was crazy long, but yeah, this one's only 13 episodes. It's just kind of the election, so I don't think I'll have a ton to say. In part because I think I want to do a separate video to kind of give my overall thoughts of the series now that I'm totally done with it. Hey, what's up, I said? I'm actually just wrapping up. Because I do want to do a full series arc, at least for like the broad strokes of my thoughts on Hunter x Hunter, Hunter x Hunter, whatever the fuck. So this last arc, I'm not going to talk too much about that. I'm going to try to keep it limited to the arc. And then I do have a couple long videos that I want to make, but I'm also trying to get some other shit done in real life, so I don't want to say anything about those. Something I learned from Mauler. And then I'll probably do a video for Captain America, just because I haven't been in the movies in forever, and I kind of see what the MCU is up to. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go finish reading book 20 of Don Machi. Maybe go out to dinner with the wife, and go to work tomorrow. This is how exciting your birthdays are when you get older. All right. I'll see you guys later. Thanks. Bye.